Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Reiki Awakening Academy Interview Series. And I'm Alice Langholt, the director of Reiki Awakening Academy. And next to me, you'll see Connie Dohan, the associate director of Reiki Awakening Academy. We are so excited you're here. The other person on camera with us is our special guest of the night, Linda Stevens, clarity consultant extraordinaire. Dun, dun, dun. She's not just a friend. She is our clarity consultant, and we wanted to let her come and meet you because of all of the fantastic advice that she has given us. I'd like to say a few more things to introduce her, but first I'm going to let Connie say hello.
Hi, everybody. Linda's the real deal. She's the real deal. She has a way of getting inside your head to understand, see what you don't see, and make it all come together for you. And she's one of a kind. Alice.
Definitely true. I also want to make sure I take the time to invite you to take more classes with us and join us for more in the interview series, because we have several more months of really fantastic interviews lined up, and we're very excited about them. So make sure you take some time to check out what's coming and to make sure that you're on our email list so that you don't miss anything, because we have a lot of really great things coming through the summer and especially launching for the fall. So with that in mind, now I'm going to talk about our guest of honor, Linda Stevens. Linda has lived in many places in the United States, doing all kinds of interesting work, from designing clothing to fundraising, writing, marketing, consulting. It's amazing how many things she's done. And writing, did I mention award-winning projects, essays and articles in publications in the US and Canada. And now she has her own consulting practice. And I would bet that all of these different career pieces and places that she's lived have given her the ability to understand business from the inside out and customers. And I bet you that's part of what makes Linda so good at her job. But we're going to get a lot more of that understanding about who she is and how she has become so good at what she does as we go along in our interview tonight. So these are the things I just wanted to share with you about Linda, and to say, just Linda, we are so excited to have you here with us. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here with you guys.
You're definitely welcome. Quick question, Connie, do you want to stay on camera or do you want to be on?
I can go off.
Okay, man the chat, Connie.
I'll man the chat.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, so cool. So here we go. At the end of our interview tonight, there will be time for question and answers and some special offers jointly between Linda and Reiki Awakening Academy that you will not want to miss. So first off, well, I didn't even know that I had animated it. How awesome of me. Okay. I can't promise it's always going to be that way. Okay, so Linda, when we came to you, we meaning Connie and I, our biggest challenge was that we were completely overwhelmed. I swear I was posting on every social media platform that I could think of, doing everything possible to promote the academy and the classes and what we're doing, and I thought, how could there be something more that I should do, and why isn't this working? In other words, our audience wasn't engaged, wasn't responding, and wasn't growing. Do you have many clients in our situation, or are we just weird?
Tell me if my mic's too loud. I know it was earlier, but you're not at all strange. I mean, as clients. In fact, most people I get the opportunity to work with have very, very similar issues. I've had the same issue in my own business, and I'm a marketing professional. It's really common. Especially as a solopreneur, you have a duopreneur situation, but I know you do most of the posting yourself, Alice, and web building and all these other things. And we try to do it all because we see that there's so much activity out there. I am a little loud, okay. Thank you. We see that there's so much activity out there, so much opportunity, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, websites, and the list just goes on and on and on and on. So we try to do it all. And really, as we discussed and you learned and I learned the hard way too, it's easier to be more selective and figure out what your best avenues are and focus on those and do them well so that the messaging that is getting out there is clear. If you're just sending out noise and it's not very good, no one's going to hear it. People will tune it out, even if they do happen to come across it. If you focus on one medium, one channel, or maybe two, and you can always grow it as you become more adept, but if you focus on one or two to begin with, you can get more traction, get used to it. There's a learning curve for everyone.
Thanks. It's true.
You're welcome.
I still find myself doing a lot of different channels, but it's a little more focused now, which helps it not feel like it's taking up all of my time and
right.
spinning my wheels.
Well, you figure out also what messages work on which channels, because they're all a little different. And I'm still, to this moment, it's all a learning curve, no matter where you are on the curve. And I'm figuring out, different messages work better for me in different arenas, in my own business. So, certainly my clients find that out too.
It's good to just be aware of some of the characteristics of the different channels and their audiences. So,
right. And you know where this is going. It's going to your next question. So I'm biting my tongue, trying to wait, because I want to talk about that.
Yeah, that was really one of the biggest epiphanies that we had in working with you.
Yeah.
We focused, you really helped us focus on who is our ideal client, our ideal student, who are we reaching out to, and who do we really want to bring in. And in knowing that, it really helps simplify our approach to marketing. So can you tell our audience why this is so important?
Well, it's important in any conversation, right, to know who you're talking to. And even if you show up at a cocktail party and you say hello to someone you've never met before, you usually are asking questions and getting to know them, so you know how to frame your conversation, what words to use, what their interests are, and you're looking for that common ground. And the same is true when you're trying to establish relationships with clients. Whether you're in a neighborhood business where you're working with people who live in the same area you do, or regionally, one-on-one, interpersonally, or if you're working digitally like you and Connie do. Either way, you need to understand who you're talking to and focus. When we work together, I had you do an exercise to find a little bit more information about. I tried to establish before we started, who is your ideal client in your mind first. And we discovered you both had a very similar idea. They were a little bit different, but you really had a very generic idea of who this person was, and through our work together, we identified really there's 3 targets, and it's okay to have more than one. It's not ideal. You had a business that was up and running and robust, so it's not unusual in that scenario to have multiple clients. You have classes that serve different audiences, from, just as an example, from people brand new to holistic healing, people who have been dabbling in it a long time but are not professionals, and then others who are professionals. So those are 3 very different people in terms of why they're coming to Reiki Awakening Academy and what they're looking for. And over time, as we built your marketing plan, and to this day, right, it serves, okay, who is this program for? Who are we talking to when we're creating this class or creating a blog post about this class? And speaking in a language and in a way and about topics that interest those different people. Of course, with your 3 avatars, I refer to something called an ideal client avatar, and I apologize just to throw out that lingo like that. It just is a made-up kind of amalgam of characteristics that we create so that we can target. I can talk a little bit about how you figure out who that is. I forget what the other questions coming up are if I'm jumping ahead, but it's a really important thing to understand for any business. In your case, all three of those ideal clients had overlapping traits, but they also had very distinctive traits. And so we were able to work with them, these make-believe people, in distinct and in overlapping ways, if that makes sense.
It does, and you gave us enough examples while we were working together that we were really able to take the example, learn from it, and then apply that approach to continuing to
Right.
speak to these people who are the people that we should be speaking to. So
Right.
it all made so
Yeah.
much sense.
I speak in a lot of analogies, trying to give examples, because I think that marketing, like any profession, is laden, with language. In fact, I remember when we first got together, you were the first Reiki clients I'd had, and although I was familiar with it somewhat, there was language, that I didn't know, and I had to call you out on it a couple times, just like, you're assuming I know what this means, I don't know what this means, and I'm doing the same thing, with my language, because I'm inside my industry. It makes perfect sense to me, but I try to be sensitive to that, because most of the people I work with, aren't marketing professionals, obviously. Although, believe it or not, I have had a few hire me also. We help too sometimes. So I know today we will talk a little bit more about the ideal avatar and how to identify that person. And I look forward to sharing some tips on that, because it's not formulaic, but there are some really clear ways to identify who that person is for your business.
I'm going to suggest that you turn your microphone down just a little bit more, because it feels a little buzzy to me, and I want to make sure that your words are clear. And while you do that,
Okay.
I'm going to turn to the next thing. Oh, here, this is important. Yes. Before we go a lot further, tell us what you love the most about your work.
Yeah, I actually, and this will sound sappy, but it's totally true, and I know you know it is. I truly do love my clients. I've been consulting only for about 4 years, 5 years, maybe even 6 now. I should do the math. But prior to that, I worked at companies or nonprofit organizations where I was on the inside, part of a team, or whatever, part of a leadership team, going to an office every day, blah, blah, blah. And I love that too, but I've learned when this opportunity came my way, it took a long time for me to adjust to working on my own. But now that I do, I truly love working with such a breadth of businesses. I mean, I've worked with a number of holistic types of businesses, yoga studio. I'm working with a medium right now in messaging her. I know, I'm super excited. It's so fun. I've worked with you guys, but I have other clients. I work with a national laboratory, so a science organization. I have a software developer who's a client right now, and I have a architectural firm. So it's fun, the breadth of work I get to do. And you referred to my eclectic background. I have done a lot of things in my career. There is a thread of relationship between them all, besides, my human body. But it's, this iteration, this consulting is allowing me, just as you were suggesting, to bring all of those things to bear, and it's just really turned into a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really lucky.
I think that it's fantastic. There's some things about working with such a diverse group of people and being able to do it well. There's some part of you that has to be a kind of a chameleon, or at least use some acting skills in, like, method acting skills, like in that you have to step into the shoes of the clients of all of these different people who are your clients. I mean, but they're their ideal clients. For you to step into the shoes of the people they're trying to talk to, in other words, and know what they need, what they're looking for, what they want, and how to talk to them. And that's like method acting or writing. I mean,
It's interesting because my core competency is writing. That's what I studied in college. That's what I do. Is I'm a writer, communicator, and to be a good writer, you do have a strong, I think, intuition and a strong compass inside. And it's interesting because the consulting work and a lot of the work I did with you and Connie specifically, because it was really in depth. Our work together was longer than a lot of engagements I have. And
I've got one in the fridge.
What?
What'd you say, Connie?
He's offering me a bottle of wine. I said make sure you get it from the fridge.
Where is my manservant? Anyway.
I'll mute the mic.
Anyway, this idea of, I'm toying with putting it into the copy I have on my website, because stepping into the shoes of these various client types is a skill set I've discovered I have, and it's really kind of fun for me. It's kind of the playful fun part for me. It's like, well, and I can't believe that you heard the breadth of clients I have right now, and yet in this eclectic experience that I've had professionally, it's all coming to bear now. I feel like I've touched so many industries in my career, whether I worked in them directly or indirectly, that I'm able to know enough that I can, figure it out, and really bring value to the client. So that sounded like I'm selling myself, but that is a fun part of my work that I really like.
It is awesome and memorable and something that that makes you really special. And so it's not about selling you, it's about us getting to know who you are and why, and it's showing why you're so awesome, which is exactly why I brought you here. So don't feel bad about that. Oh, now see, I didn't have my special animation on this, so there's two questions. We'll do one at a time. Now tell it to us straight, okay? Because I want to know. This is about, getting to the down and dirty, really, of how to do this stuff. I mean, we have people here that just are starting from scratch, that feel like it's a ton of stuff and they don't know where to turn. And so let's just take it this first part here. Many of our students are healers or energy workers or practitioners of some kind who are building their own practice or aspire to do that. And so where should we start? Where should they start? What do you advise?
Well, first I just want to say that it is a lot. So try not to beat yourself up. It is overwhelming. It is a lot. There are so many things you can do. And I think acknowledging that you're not some loser because you can't manage all these things. Because like when I met you were beating yourself up royally because you were trying so hard. And every time I'd say, well, what about this or what about that? I am doing that, and I've been doing it for 2 years or this or that. And you had been, and you were doing it well. What we learned in your situation was that we needed to build some connecting bridges, too, between some of your efforts. You were doing great work. You were doing a little too much, so we kind of pared back, and then we tried to start working on building bridges between it, so it wouldn't be so much work. Anyway, that's just an example. This is my opportunity. When you say what's the first thing you can do, and this is true whether you're already in business and the train's moving down the tracks, or you literally have no clients. It's a little easier, believe it or not, if the train's already moving. But if not, it's not impossible. If the train's already moving, the first thing we need to understand, and we talked about this already, is the ideal client. We need to know who that ideal is. Because in marketing is a proactive effort, right? You're reaching out to people, and you're asking them or trying to connect with people, right? Well, we don't want to just connect with just anybody, anybody on the street. We want to connect with someone who has an interest in our product, an interest in our business, and who really needs our services. Anybody who's on the call tonight, I'm assuming, is going to be a service provider, and a healing professional. I mean, it's the epitome of service, right? So you're caring individuals, you're people who are really looking to help others. You don't want to try to help people that don't want to be helped, and there's plenty of people who need help, and who want your help. So really understanding who that person is paramount. A lot of times you'll see exercises and activities about, and you guys did this when I asked you about your ideal client. You gave me an age range. It was a woman. Kind of these demographic type of definitions and ranges, which are totally fine. But I think when you look at a Reiki client, for example, or for me, a marketing client, they can be any age. You could work on a 10-year-old. You could work on a 80-year-old, right? It isn't about age. And so I think a lot of times with demographics, it doesn't matter, if it's a man or a woman. Or your ideal might be one or the other, or your regular client might be one or the other, but it really doesn't give you much to work with. So what we usually do is really try to think about who that individual is emotionally. And I think that is where my clients tend to get the real traction about understanding their best client. If you're in business, you can look at your client list and you can say, okay, who are my top, say you have 500 clients, you could say, who are my top 20 clients? And then when you say, well, what defines a top 20? The people I like, people who understand my work and love it. Like you guys are definitely in my top 10 client list because you love my work, right? I do my work and you're like, oh yeah, this really works for me. That makes me feel really good about my work. So it goes both ways. It's not just that you pay me or that you show up on time, although those are good qualities in clients also. So a lot of times I'll have a client look at their best client from a number of different facets. People who show up on time, who pay on time, and who pay full price. These are our best clients. But really first is people who understand your work and your message and want to receive it. So when you start building this kind of make-believe ideal client avatar based on their emotional qualities, then like we just were talking about, and we can go through a specific example if that would be helpful, then you really start understanding who that person is. It's not really what they look like or where they shop, although those might have an impact depending on what your product is. But as a healing provider, it's usually going to be emotional. You have people who have, with Reiki, who have things they want cleared, who believe in alternative healing, who are looking for self-care options. These kinds of things, when you start thinking about, okay, who this person is, she's not that, he, she is not that generic. And you start thinking, well, where is that person? Well, she could be anywhere, but, and so anyway, the first thing you really need to do before you build your website, or before you get on Twitter, or before you get on Facebook, is think about, who do I want to work with? Who do I really think I could help? And if you're brand new, starting out, and you don't have any clients to look at and kind of use as fodder for this exercise, you have to really start with just trusting yourself. What am I good at? It takes some courage. What am I good at? And who can I really help ideally? And try to narrow it down a little bit. It's not just anybody. I'd like to help women who are about my age, who've been through similar issues as me, because I understand those issues. That's often where we end up, is someplace we've already been. People who are a couple steps behind our own path, but who want to grow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I just want to point out to people that are here, feel free to chat if you have, a comment or a question along the way.
Yes, please do.
Engaged in this, participation is totally acceptable.
Yeah, if I can offer a clear example or something, I'd love to do that. because it's really the basis of all marketing for me. And I've been doing it ridiculous. I'm not going to use a number because it's been so long. But and it also really, I think especially this will resonate with this audience, because as healers, as people who are interested in human connection, starting from that place of where somebody's really at, I think feels good for you too. It's not just some demographic number that is out there. It's like, well, even if you have 3 clients, look at all 3 of them and go, what are the best aspects of each of these clients? Of the 3, who do I get most excited about when they walk in? And why am I excited? Why am I excited? Usually it's because they are able to articulate what they need. They respond really well to the treatment. They are grateful. All these kinds of things. And because really when you're proactively marketing, which is what marketing is, it's a proactive activity, you want to talk to that person. You want to talk to the top 20%. You hear the 80-20 rule in a lot of different scenarios in business. And in marketing, you're selling to that top 20%. Some may even say the top 5%. You're not using a shotgun. You're not just spewing out fodder and hoping somebody responds. You're saying, I really want to work with this person. You're aiming high. And I said to you guys, that's not to say that you're not going to let other people enroll or let other people walk in the door and pay you to have a treatment. It's just saying that when you're proactively marketing, you're targeting that person so that they can hear you. And then, yes, you want to build a website. Once you know who you're talking to. But even the website, I could go rattle on about that too. Websites are important. They're kind of our business card of today. And even if you're a neighborhood practitioner, a lot of times people are looking for a web presence just as a qualifier. I just want to go check that person out on the web. And if that's the situation, it doesn't have to be a very big site. It just needs to be clean. It needs to be consistent with who you are. The more of this kind of emotional quality that we were just talking about that you bring to the table, you want to reflect that in that website. You don't want to just have some generic website that looks like every other practitioner in your marketplace. Dare to be a little different and say, pink is my favorite color. I don't care if it's not corporate. I'm going to use it because it just makes me happy. And here's what it means to me. I built a website this year myself for the first time, and it's a giggle to me because I couldn't come up with imagery. I'm a writer. And so I have this silly picture of myself. It was literally a selfie. You've seen this, I know. And I just made bunches of colors, and that's what I used because I wanted to bring more playfulness to my business because I'm kind of playful. And I wanted to let people know that, whereas before I had a very corporate, buttoned-up kind of site with no color.
Oh, Cindy made a really good comment there. When you're first starting out, you want to help everyone, everywhere, and that's too much. But to narrow to only one type of client feels very restrictive. Is there a too small ideal client?
It is a Goldilocks scenario. You want to find that just right place. But, we usually find that just like in the fairy tale. I think Goldilocks is a fairy tale, or is it a myth, or whatever. You know what I'm saying. She tries all 3,
Oh,
right?
Goldilocks. Yeah.
Goldilocks. And then she decides, this is the best one for me. So, that's how I've learned, is by trial and error. And so you do have to allow yourself a little space to make mistakes. And I'm not saying it's not okay initially to just work with anyone. I think what I'm trying to say as a marketer, and I think this is what you're hearing me say too, is that as an individual, how can you market to everyone? It's like walking to a room at a cocktail party and trying to talk to everybody at one time. Well, you can't. You talk to one person at a time. Maybe you talk to 5 people that night, and that's it. And you just kind of trust that you talk to the right 5 people. And out of those 5, you might find 1 that really, or 2 that really clicked with you. and you might follow up with in some way. And I'm talking about personally, not even in business. The same is true in business, right? You get one client you really like, and you have a couple others that are only okay. It's not that you tell the other ones to take a hike. I mean, of course not. We're all building business. But as you put your marketing plan together, or you start blogging or doing proactive marketing activities, you kind of think of that person, that special client, the one you really like, and you write to her or him in your blog. Use their name or whatever, but you kind of focus on, they're really interested in this, and I want more of them. So it's definitely a trial and error, and building a business takes time. I think this is year 6 for me, and it's going to be my best year, but I've had a roller coaster, and I'm just like every other entrepreneur out there, but I'm much happier, and I'm attracting clients that make me very happy. Okay, I'm reading you, Cindy. It makes sense to determine by trial. No one is excluded at the beginning, right? I understand what you're saying. I can't market to everyone, but can get to the ideal client through a process. Correct.
Yes.
Is that a question? I think it's not. I think you're just saying, I hear you. Maybe I didn't address the too small thing.
Oh, she agrees.
Oh, you agree with it. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I answered you. Yeah.
I think you make some very important points there.
Yeah.
I even think that if you were writing a blog post as if you were writing a letter to that client or talking directly to them even, you're going to find that other people self-identify with what you're saying. And I think self-identification is a really important part of
yes,
marketing.
It is the part. That's exactly what you're doing.
Say, oh,
thank you for saying that.
I need that. That's me you're talking to.
Yeah, and we've all had that experience. We read a blog post and we think, oh my gosh, this person is talking to me. Or then you look at the comments and there's 572 other people that think they're talking. You know what I mean? So we've all had that experience. And when you're starting out, if it's like my blogs, nobody responds. I have to go to business meetings and then people go, oh, I read your blog all the time. It's like, really? You never respond. Anyway, different blogs bring out different...
I have a couple of times stepped into a class and someone I've never met has said to me, I've read your whole blog. And I'm like, you read 6 years of my blog posts. You know me better than my husband. I mean,
yeah, you know me better than myself, probably. Because I don't even remember writing them.
He doesn't read all my blog posts. He hardly reads any.
So what your blogs become, right, in that scenario, is they become a qualifier. This person's thinking about working with you, and so they're going, well, I'm just going to check this person out. And maybe they saw a random blog post somewhere or somebody referred them, and then they start reviewing your work. So one is, why do I need to blog? And I'm not, you don't have to blog. You don't have to do anything. And in fact, if you abhor it or if it makes your skin crawl, do not do it because it'll come through. You don't want to waste your time doing something that makes you very unhappy. And your clients will sense that. There's other ways to communicate with your client base if you don't want to blog.
That leads us right to the next question, actually.
Okay.
So that's perfect. That there's so many things for a person to do. Oh my God, websites, blogging, newsletters, videos, and how and I'm a person who likes to try to keep things simple. I mean, I'm about practical Reiki and stone reading made simple and manifesting made simple. And just give me the basics, let me do it, and do it well, and make it work. So how can you look at all of these possible outreach methods and simplify them so that it's not going to take your 24/7 time to actually get
to do it? Yeah. Because marketing is a reality for any entrepreneur or solopreneur or small business. It's always going to be a portion of what you do, what that portion of what you do looks like, and you have to make sure there is balance, because if you're a Reiki practitioner and all you're doing is marketing, you're not going to be very happy, right? I love marketing, but the part I love is working with people. My blog is not that active. And the busier I get with my clients, the less I'm blogging. And I sometimes still beat myself up over that. But and I look, this is kind of fun. This is the first interview I've done, and it's another way for me to promote, I guess, or to be in front of people. And it's fun, and it's just come my way, so I feel really grateful. In terms of the overwhelm, we kind of talked about this earlier. I mean, this will sound really obvious, but I guess in some ways I'm giving people permission. I'm a professional, and I can advise you that you don't have to do it all, and in fact, don't. And again, it depends a little bit where you are on the trajectory of business ownership. If you're just starting out, you're right, Alice, keep it as simple as possible. If you're 5 or 10 years in, still, it's great to keep it really simple. You want to keep it manageable. Some of the pillars of marketing are consistency, so trying to start with one thing and see if you can keep that up for a while and learn, do I even like this way of communicating? Do I not like it? I had actually just today, I got an email from a woman I follow who's a business coach, basically, an online business coach, and she's had what she called TV, like KTV or something. Her name is Kendrick Shope, something like that. And she's done it for 3 or 4 years, where every week she had a blog that was a video. And she just announced in a blog post today, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm putting that away, and something new's coming. And I don't even know what new's coming yet. But, I totally applaud that approach, that at some point you need to say, yeah, this isn't working. Or I'm going to change my whole topic. I'm aware of a very high-profile online business person who used to be like a nutrition coach and then decided she really wanted to talk about money management. And, she kind of was, even as a nutrition coach, money kept coming up, and that's how she self-learned that this is where her passion really was. And so I've heard her tell this story. I didn't follow her then, but she sent a blog post out to her following and said, I'm changing gears. I'd love it if you join me. If you don't want to, thank you. And if you want to, subscribe here. And maybe, I don't know if half the people came or what. But it's very brave and it's very courageous. But be willing to be that. It's your business. Let you define it. Do what you want to do. We talked earlier, in terms of priorities, a website, especially if you're a digital business, it's on absolute. But as we all know now, websites are a really broad spectrum of places. They don't all look the same. Think about the ones you like visiting. Think about the ones that, even if they're completely outside of your industry, what draws you to them, what makes them easy to read, what makes them fun for you to visit. Do you think of that as a reliable resource and one that you get a lot of value from? And maybe try to mirror your site on that. You can build them yourself, you can hire someone to do it, but really understanding who that ideal avatar is will help you build it. What do they need to know? What are they looking for when they come to my website? Are they really going to buy anything on my website, or is it just about credibility? Is it just about them getting a feel for who I am? And then they're going to come into my store or something like that. So, there's some simple questions you can ask to figure out how to build that website and keep it effective for your goals. And then my 20 cents on social media, and this is just a blanket statement, software client I have right now. He says something about, I know I need to get a Facebook page going. I know I'm on Facebook, but I'm not professionally, blah, blah, blah. Well, once we went through this ideal client exercise, I said to him, so do you think your ideal client, that by then we were probably calling Bob, I said, do you think Bob's on Facebook? And he goes, maybe. And he goes, yeah, like I am. And I said, right, but is Bob looking for you? Is Bob looking for a software developer for this particular product, which is very specialized? And he said no, and I said, yeah, you don't need to be on Facebook. Right? And so he came down to maybe at some point he'll go on LinkedIn, but right now a website is enough. The other question you want to ask yourself, and this is the same client I asked this question to, how many clients do you really need? In his case, he has a very high-end product, very expensive financially. He does not want any employees. It's just him. I said, how many clients can you manage? And he said, 5. And I said, okay. So you need 5 clients. How are we going to get 5 clients? So think about what you really need. If you need 5 clients and you have a business, are your people looking for you on Facebook? If you're a B2B type client or a B2B type company, probably not. It's much more consumer based. If you guys, it's a great resource.
Well, Linda, you've just touched a little bit upon, I think, where you would go to answer Danielle's question here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which is, how do you feel about using Instagram as a marketing platform, and how often should one post content if they're going to use Instagram?
Yeah, I love Instagram. I've just started using it personally. I don't really use it for my business, but that's not to say that I couldn't or shouldn't. I'm seeing, of course, it's just like it's not just like Pinterest, but it's a very visual medium, right? It's words are there, but they're much less important. So do you have visuals to share? And like if you're on it already personally, you can do a little research. I mean, even in one night, just with yourself, it's like, okay, what kind of images am I attracted to? What am I seeing that really kind of lights my fire that I want to put in my little heart area, and see if there's a way to apply that to your business. I don't know what you do. If maybe you're telling me that, I can see you're typing.
So it goes back to, I just want to bring back to you, are people looking for what you're offering on Instagram? Are they looking for it there? Is that where people go to look for the service that you offer? Because if the answer is no, people go there to look for recipes like Pinterest, or though I have a huge Pinterest account, so I'm not.
Me too. It may be very specific, and I do have a Pinterest account for myself, but I don't know. I think Instagram shows more of the fun and personal side of business. Absolutely. Yes, more relaxed marketing. And if you're a more relaxed marketer and your business has a really relaxed culture, it could be a really great fit for you. I agree though with what Alice was saying too, and I think the bridge I would create between the two is, I don't think anybody personally, I have a limited experience with Instagram, but I think because it's a newer platform to some degree, people aren't looking for anything there. They, especially business-wise, I'm not going, I need a consultant. Boom, I'm going to get on Instagram and check it out. That's not to say that if you're posting interesting things, and we are very visual people. I don't care what industry you're in. I'm a business management student getting my associates in June, and then on to my bachelor's. Okay, what are your business management? Do you know what you want to manage? Go ahead and offer that. But, I think, say it was going to be you guys, Alice. You guys could post, you had an upcoming class on, because you guys do classes on instruments and things like that, like stones and pendulums, and there could be an argument that you could find or take really cool pictures of pendulums in motion, or what I see on Instagram more and more is these 4.5 second videos, and and then you have a little link. Am I saying add that to your already super long list of things you do? No. But if someone, say Danielle, isn't a Facebook person, or, that's where she spends her time. and that's what makes her happy as a human. It's like, then figure out how to use it for your business. There are ways to use almost any medium for your business, and of course, it doesn't. You do have to go back to where is your customer, and are they going to be making decisions? I mean, if it's about a class for $40 online, it's one thing. If it's a $25,000 software commitment, probably not. In fact, one would think you were nuts. Like, you would actually lose credibility, I think, with your potential buyer if you were trying to market it. You know what I mean? So,
the only people who are really should focus their business on Instagram are photographers. But Instagram can be a nice side thing for people like me. I post pictures of me at expos, like, this is my table, check me out, I'm ready to go, or ready to Reiki, here's my Reiki room, and I've got a client coming in, there's my table, and it's all set up, or I have a picture of me at a book signing, or me holding up my next book and paging through it, or something like that. That's what I would put on Instagram, just as another way of showing what I'm doing, but it wouldn't be the main focus, because when people
sure.
are going on Instagram, they might see it and go, "Oh, that's nice." Click, like a random sighting, but people
Right.
aren't searching for me.
Well, I think Instagram would challenge you if you wanted to use it. And again, we're just beating you up because you're here and it's easy. But if you wanted to use Instagram as a real source for you, I would challenge you to be more creative with your photography. Like, instead of showing the cover of your book in your hand, find a passage in your book that you love, take a close-up shot of it. You know what I mean? Like, make the photo, and I have to disagree with you on the only people that should be there photographers. A lot of people I follow, I'm kind of a design freak, which is very visual, but interior designers, architects, it's a great venue for them to show off their work and their perspective. They're very visual people. I follow a number of illustrators, even floral designers. I mean, anybody who could even loosely be considered a designer, that has a visual aesthetic. Certainly, I'm, redoing my fashion interest right now, and I'm sure I'll be posting my work there. So, and it's growing. I think the other thing about Instagram, and I know I've seen an article on this somewhere, but the demographics of each social media channel are quite different, and Instagram is much younger. It skews very young. It's going to change just like Facebook did over time. Facebook was super young when it started, but now it's not. So, there's that too. Who do you want to focus on?
Okay, we already saw that one, so I guess that question got both. Okay, yeah, let's go to what do you want to promote? Let me just click all of these so we see what's here. Okay, so here we have, what do you want to promote? And we'll talk. You know what? Let's wait and we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes, because let's first give a chance for Q&A, and then on the next page, I'll let you talk about where I have listed and things about what you're
let's do that.
promoting. Okay, so quick, everybody who's here. This is your chance, because you came tonight and here you are live with us. The people who are watching the recording, sorry you don't get to do this, but we're so glad you're here. But you're at the mercy of us asking questions. So if you have a question for Linda that you haven't asked yet, type it now. Now's your time. This is the bonus. This is like the perk of being here live, is you get to say, what about my situation?
Absolutely. I would love that. I think I'm better when I have a situation right in front of me. Because it is so specific. I mean, marketing can be, there's some real general rules out there, but it just gets real personal real fast. Ooh, people are typing. I'm so excited.
It's happening. Don't worry, you're not being ignored.
Never worried.
This is like in the other interviews, this is the part where now Victor is going to give some psychic readings. So everybody ask if you want a question. If you have a question, this is like this is the meat and potatoes, not the meat and potatoes, but this is the perky part. This is dessert. Okay. Here we go. What if you're not someone who knows much about social media or even websites, how and where to start? And Oh, wow. Danielle has very similar. How do you gain the interest of clients when you're starting out and don't have that much experience, like in your work?
Right.
You want to start getting clients
Yeah.
the first time. So these are two
Well,
different.
I think those are two really different questions. Yeah. In terms of the one Cindy's question to me, and Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm reading technically a little bit fearful, which I totally get. Social media and websites. Some people are out there building their own. I had the first time I did my own business website, I hired someone, a friend of mine had enough knowledge. I mean, I paid her and everything. She was a professional, but, and I created the messaging because that's what I do. And had done in my career in the business side enough websites that I understood a lot about user navigation. I guess, certainly you could hire me to help you develop the ideas, what you need, but there's also so many resources on the web. The one thing I mentioned earlier is truly looking around and seeing what websites appeal to you. I'm literally talking about, you're shopping online, you're going to foodie sites, and you're not in food. Be aware, of sites that make you more interested, that engage you more, and see what about them. Ask yourself, what's engaging me here? There's a huge trend, and I personally am a less is more person. Fewer pages. I'm working with the software client I mentioned is doing a Squarespace site, which is a web platform that's many people have heard WordPress. Squarespace is another platform that's come on in the last couple of years. Very intuitive, and supposedly I've not worked in it yet, but I know a lot of people who have, and they say it's super simple. And this client is building his site in that, so I'll be learning with him. But really easy templates that you're just ready to go. You kind of drop in pictures and some words, and you're good to go. So it can be that easy. If that just scares you to death, you can find people. I mean, one thing, maybe not for a whole website, but there's a resource called Fiverr, Fiverr, I think.
Fiverr.
Okay, that some people use. I think that's for more like $5 kind of transactions. I need an image created that I don't know how to do. I need a logo. But I'm sure if you needed a website, somebody could help you there. But before you hire a web designer, really do try to go through this ideal client stuff and understand what you want. Because a web designer is a technical person. At least the ones I know. It's pretty rare to come, which is enough to do that, right? It's pretty rare for someone who's doing websites to have a tremendous amount of experience with marketing and what I call user interface. In other words, what you want to think about is, okay, someone I don't know is coming to this website. They've been referred here. They've come here from my Facebook page or whatever. What is this? It's like a welcome mat. It's your front door. How are you welcoming them? Is it easy for them to understand who you are and what you do? I mean, that's your total goal. And in terms of social media, we've talked a lot about that, but I would choose one. Just say, okay, I'm going to choose one. And there's a lot of resources out there. I'm a huge Googler. I mean, I am constantly teaching myself how to do stuff. I mean, I built my whole website. I built it on WordPress using a theme that was recommended to me by someone who'd used it before for its simplicity. And I can't tell you how many times during that I had to Google and figure stuff out. DIYing is great, and we think of it as a less expensive option. That isn't why I did it this time, because it's really not. It takes a ton of time, right? Alice, you know this. And so DIYing is really great, but don't kid yourself. It's not cheaper. It takes a ton of time, and your time is valuable. And again, before you choose a social media avenue, figure out, who do you want to talk to and where is it most likely they're going to be. Maybe it's not on social media. If you're running a daycare in a community that you live in, there might be other ways to reach moms looking for childcare. Bulletin boards, coffee shops, play groups, the rec center. There might be other ways. So it doesn't have to be social media. And then, thank you, Alice. I hope that helps, Cindy. How do you gain interest of clients when you're starting out and don't have that much experience? Danielle, what I'm thinking you're saying is, because you mentioned earlier that you're just getting out of college and you're studying. Great, Cindy. That's a tough place to be. It's also an exciting place, right? And I would assume the role of the sponge. If and learn, even while you're still in school, figure out which of these professors really work for me, which of these professors, kind of speak my language, and start talking to them and get mentorship. I had a lot of that in my career early on, and I was really, really fortunate to work for some really dynamic women, most of whom I'm still in touch with, to this day. So mentorship is, unfortunately, in a lot of industries, apprenticeship is really prominent in some industries, obviously some trades, but also in architecture. I worked in architecture for a long time as a marketing director, and there's a very clear apprenticeship line, and I think there's so much to that. So try to find your mentors. Sometimes they show up, and sometimes you have to go out and knock on a few doors, and that's one thing I recommend. I've mentored a number of people, because I learned how important it was to me. So I don't know, maybe there's opportunity if you'd like to talk. You'll certainly have ways to contact me after. But if you're wanting to be, just as the last thing, if you're wanting to be a consultant and you're just like, I want to start my own business and do it, you have to figure out why people would listen to you. What value do you bring? Years of experience isn't the only value, right? Energy, excitement. If you're a young person with who does have some savvy, say, in social media and kind of modern culture issues, it's really a challenge for people in my generation and certainly older. I have to ask my son for help all the time, just to make my phone work. So, there's things you can leverage that are in your skill set. So look at who you are as a person, not just who you are as a business professional, while your career is in development, because all of you comes to the table. Not, bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you. I think that's a sign, that this is going really well.
That's what it is.
I hope that helps, Danielle. I don't know, it felt a little big, but I just want to read Cindy's comment. Background in business management, but LOL, haven't used much since having social media. Well, good. I love generating ideas. In fact, we'll talk about that in a second. And see, Cindy, Danielle, if you're a big social media gal, Cindy needs you. It's crazy what people need. And we make a lot of assumptions that, there's tons of other people who know that. Well, guess what? I'm not the only marketing professional on the planet. And yet I have plenty of business. So, I market in a unique way. My personality is unique. And by targeting me, myself, in my business, I'm attracting clients like Alice and like Connie that make me happy and that we get to learn from each other. I work really collaboratively, if that isn't obvious. And not that I don't tell them what to do, but, usually it's just they have to educate me too. So have fun. I love this. I want to do this all the time.
Yay. So let's talk a little about these offers here, because I'm gonna copy the link and put it in the chat too, because
Okay.
Tell us
Should I go
about
first?
the content clarity guide. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so we've talked so much about client clarity. I'm a huge believer, and that's clearly true. So I developed this, it's really like a 5-page thing. I used to call it a worksheet, and someone that worked on it said, it's not really a worksheet. I thought it would just be more, bullets and questions. And I mean, I really, some of the material we talked about tonight, I go over. I have a few web links to articles that support, some of my positions. And then I try to take you through some questions and some exercises to help you identify who your client is. I mean, these are the kind of exercises I did with Connie and Alice, to help them identify. I'm hoping it will be helpful to you. It's a free download. And you sign up for my site. Right now I haven't blogged in a month, so I certainly won't be inundating your email box, but I do occasionally send things out. But anyway, so that is a freebie I would love to share with you. If you have any questions, my email address will be on there. You can reach out to me. And then I have another special offer too, which kind of tags on to what we were just talking about. Cindy was talking about, getting ideas. This is the energy I like to create with clients. I like to create a lot of creative energy and create a space for that. And so I learned in working with clients like Alice and Connie that there was really, I worked with them for a number of months developing protocols for their business. But a number of clients I've worked with since, I created this thing called a Clarity Intensive. And basically it's a 60-minute one-on-one session with me, usually via Skype or the phone. There's a little pre-work, with a questionnaire that we do where you identify some specific thing we can really work on. A lot of times it ends up being the ideal client situation. So that we really hit the ground running when we meet. Really rarely are we done in an hour, and I won't hang up until we're done. So it's gone on for some time. And then after we're done, it's a very fast-paced kind of brainstorming feeling. And then when we're done, I follow up with a report, what I call an insights report, where I kind of organize and gather everything we came up with during our session. And then usually after the session, I have other little light bulbs that are going off, and maybe some copywriting cues I think you should consider, or depending on what issue you come to me with. Sometimes people have a half-written page of copy and they're trying to figure it out, and I'll help them transform it. Other times they just have an idea for a business and we talk about strategy. So it really depends on what you come to me with. But it's a huge value. I love doing them. I usually charge $2.99, and I would love to work with anybody that's a friend of Reiki Awakening Academy for $187. It's a really big value, and I love doing it. And if you click on that link, it takes you to a page that tells you more about it too. But that's what's going on. I'm excited about my offers.
You should be, because they're. I recommend this to anybody. Linda's way above and beyond. She's charging even at $2.99. She's
funny. I'm seeing your comment. I can go on a roll. There's no question.
For the kind of help that I got from her. So really take it seriously. And if you an hour of her time is precious, and it's going to be more anyways, because it's hard to limit to an hour ever with Linda.
It always is, yeah.
Right now I
just have to say that so that I go in. But yeah, they regularly are 90 minutes, sometimes even longer. Seriously, so it just depends on what we need to cover.
Linda's amazing. You will get so much out of a session that if you can do it, do it. I say go for it. Really, as soon as you can, but definitely work with the client clarity guide to get you started, and because it is more than a worksheet. It is in depth, and it's going to make you think, and this is going to help you. But now I'll just also tell you that because we're here together doing this thing together here, yay! I thought I'd also throw in an offer for you, because we have. Those of you who are watching the video of the recording, you can also, hopefully you're watching this soon, because I'm really only making this available for a short time, because it's a pretty good deal. So we offer recorded classes on Reiki Awakening Academy, In case you did not know that, we call them independent study, but they're listed under recorded classes. It's windy. And you can have 3 recorded classes for $75, which normally they're $35 or more. So any class that's priced $35 or $40, add 3 of them to your cart. Use the code Linda, because this is our interview with Linda, keep it in capital letters.
Oh, I'm the code.
You are the code, yes.
I'm so flattered.
Use the code Linda, because this is from the interview with Linda, so you'll remember. And that will bring your total price down to $75. So you're saving $30. This is a really, like, almost getting a class free.
Yeah.
And the recorded classes you can watch anytime you want. And we have a whole lot of different topics and even new ones that I've put up lately. So you would just go
I'm
to
gonna have to check that out.
ReikiAwakeningAcademy.com recorded classes, or go under just surf your way there, and then look at the classes, add to your cart the 3 you want. Now remember, don't try to add a $170 course to your cart. It's not going to work with this discount code, okay? This is really for classes that are priced no more than $40. We do have some classes that are like a big whole program. Don't add that. That's not going to work. So, but anyways, you're still getting an amazing deal. And if you want a discount on a class like that, well, just join the Advanced Healing Pioneers or become an affiliate. There's lots of ways to get discounted classes with us, and we offer other deals sometimes. But this one is a great one, and the first recorded classes deal we've ever offered. So I want to make sure you know about that. And those of you who are watching this recording, if you have a problem, and you go, oh no, I'm watching this recording on May 15th and I really wanted that deal, send me an email and tell me that you want the deal. And I will probably activate it just for you, because I'm that kind of girl. So,
I can attest to that. You are that kind of girl. Yeah, and mine will run through June. So absolutely, if you're listening to the recording, those pages, I have specific pages on my website, private pages for these offers, and as long as you have the link, which is in the chat, right, they'll have that if they're listening to the recording. Then
click on it even from the recording.
Say it again?
If you're watching the recording, you can still click on that link in the chat and it will
Okay, perfect. So as long as the page is live, I'll accept the, at some point I'll take it down, and probably through June.
Nice.
Very good. Yeah.
Very generous.
I'd love to meet some new people.
If you want to come back on, you're allowed now. Well, you're allowed. You can come on a timeout. Now we will we'll wrap if Connie's away from her computer, or maybe stepped away for a minute. Then never mind.
No, I'm here. I am here.
A glass of wine.
How can I step away with such glorious company?
I could not imagine, but I didn't want to assume. So put your camera on, Connie. Join us.
Toodles, everybody. It's time to wind up.
You're going to join us on the screen?
I'll join you very quickly.
Okay.
There.
You are. Almost. There you are.
There she is. Very good.
Okay, good. Well, we want to thank you, Linda, for all of your brilliant insights, sharing your time and special offer with.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to meet some of your audience. I'm honored. It's really been fun. I love working with you two, as you know, and friends of yours are friends of mine.
Good night.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot
Good
more
night.
watching the recording. Thank you again. Thank you, Connie. Good to see you. Okay, everybody, I'm going to end. I would love it if you would do the evaluation. That will automatically open for those of you who are here live. Otherwise, it's at ReikiAwakeningAcademy.com/evaluation. And let us know how you liked this interview. Linda, we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Did great. Oh, I'm going to stop recording. That'd be a good thing. Stop recording.